and I am a crested teacher. I'm here to tell you a story. First, let's drum together. Have you got something you can bang and follow our rhythm? Or you can just clap along. Even Jaja, we want you to clap. My story today is about a dog. Can you pretend to be a dog? Put your paws up, wag your tail, put your tongue out, pant. Now can you bark like a dog? Bark at the people next to you and give your tail an even bigger wag. My story is called The Dog and Its Reflection. What do you think this story is going to be about? Have you ever seen your reflection? Think about when you look in the mirror and you can see how smart you are. Have you noticed you can also sometimes see your reflection in water? Now let's find out about the dog in this story when he saw his reflection. There was a dog called Brown. Brown had been hungry for a few days and then it was his lucky day. He found the most enormous piece of meat. He thought he would take it back to the rest of his family, a pack of dogs who were resting across a stream in the shade of a large mango tree. He trotted as fast as he could because he was so happy to have the delicious piece of meat to share with the pack. His tail was wagging. His tongue was out. Are you wagging your tail? As he came to the stream, he decided to use the little bridge so that he could not get his feet wet. Sometimes we call dog feet paws. The bridge went over the stream. Underneath was water, making its way towards the big river. Can you make your fingers look like the stream of water? Shh. Brown crossed the bridge often, but he always looked straight ahead as he was a bit scared of heights. But today, as he was feeling so happy, wagging his tail, are you still wagging your tail? He was wagging his tail with joy because he had found the enormous piece of meat. The meat was so heavy, he could hardly lift his head. So he had to look down into the stream. When he looked down, he couldn't believe his eyes. There was another dog, also with an enormous piece of meat in his mouth, looking straight back at him. He growled at the other dog. Can you growl? And then the other growled back. What a mean dog, he thought. Who do you think the other dog was? Yes, you are right. It was his reflection. What do you think might happen next? Let's snip our dog noses while we think of an answer. I know some of you have some really good ideas. Shall we read on and see what happens next? Because Brown had never seen a reflection, he was convinced it was another dog with another piece of meat, with a very nasty growl. Brown thought, I want that piece of meat too. He was feeling greedy and he didn't like the other dog. Brown was greedy and jealous of the other dog, so he decided that what he would do was to snap it out of the water. But as he opened his mouth, the piece of meat fell out, dropped into the water and went blop, 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 and disappeared down the stream. Can you stream your fingers like water again? Shh. Oh, how the dog cried and howled and howled. Wipe out your tears with your paws. He went to sleep hungry and and so did the pack. Can you howl like you lost your special ball? Brown learned what a reflection was, and he promised himself not to be greedy or jealous anymore, and to be happy with what he really had. I hope you enjoyed the story. Let's think back to the story, and I'm going to ask you some questions. Why was the dog so happy at the start of the story? Yes, he had found an enormous piece of meat and he was so hungry and he wanted to share it with his family and pack. When he sees his reflection in the stream, what happens? The reflection confuses him. He thinks it's another dog with another piece of meat. In the end, the dog learns what a reflection is, and what we can learn from this is that we can be happy with what we are given and not to be distracted by what we think we can see. Now let's all have some thinking time. Tell the person next to you something that makes you happy, and then listen to theirs. I'm going to say goodbye now until our next story time. But as I do that, let's take a minute to be thankful for the many good things we have in our lives as we listen to some drumming.